Welcome back, guys. We're back out in the gun room today, and we are resurrecting an old project. So we are bringing back, if you guessed it, the Savage Bmag. Came into some of the 17 WSM ammo. So I thought, this was actually one of my favorite rifles to mess around with. I absolutely love the idea behind the 17 WSM, but as you guys know, there has been issues with its performance as far as accuracy and precision. So if you remember back, gosh, it's been, let me see here. Let me check this target. When was the last one I did? 2020. So it's been almost right at 5 years ago since we have featured this gun on the channel, or this type of gun on the channel. And if you remember way back when, I did bed the factory plastic Tupperware junk stock just to see if I could get any more improvement on precision and accuracy over that of it just being out of the box. So here is the target from that time frame, and you can see tested a couple different loads, but as we now know, all WSM ammo is made by Winchester. So even the Hornady, the Browning, American Eagle, it's all Winchester. So at least in that regard, you don't have to worry about sourcing different ammos. As long as you get the different grain weights of the Winchester, you're pretty much good to go. However, after the initial bedding job in the factory stock, we did manage a couple of what I would consider to be decent groups. Now, these are all 5-shot groups. These were shot at 110 yards. And here was the 20 grain, so American Eagle, but as we know, it's the Winchester stuff. Did have one flyer up there. Now, before I bedded it, that's what I would get a lot of times, is just a complete random flyer. One would just fly off. And personally, I thought I had really good trigger press, follow through, but it would still fly one. I don't know. I don't get it. Here's some 25 grain stuff. As we kind of now know, a lot of these stainless heavy barrel guns tend to favor the 25 grain from what I've seen. Here's the Winchester 20. That's a heck of a group. .852 at 110 yards. That's very, very respectable. Had that shot right there been in this little cluster, that would have been amazing. And then finally, .676. This was the Browning BPR VT, 25 grain. Now, again, we had a 25 grain up here, the Winchester VT. This here, that right there, those 4 shots, that's amazing. And then again, that could have been me. It's totally possible. But this down here leads me to believe that that 25 grain stuff should shoot very well in this rifle. So with that being said, we are going to take it one step further. So I was able to source, we've got one of the Boyd's @1 stocks. Super excited to see this stock on this rifle. Now, I am going to shoot it without bedding this stock first. So we are going to install it in this stock, and I'm going to shoot various shots, but we're going to do it at different torque ratings on the action screws and see what kind of difference that gets us. So we're going to start at 5 inch-pounds and work our way up to 35, 5-pound increments. I don't want to risk damaging the stock going any tighter than that, but I think 35 is going to be plenty enough to get us a good idea of what's going on with this rifle. And just for the aesthetics, I did get a Glades bolt handle. So we're going to try that on there too. But nonetheless, let me get this put on this rifle, and I'll meet you guys back at the hive. All right, so we got our Bmag installed into our Boyd's @1 stock. Got our Glades Armory bolt handle attached, and I will say, I can't believe how much of a difference this bolt handle makes in cycling and manipulating the action of this rifle as compared to the janky one that it comes with. It is night and day different. But we've got our first 5 rounds loaded up of our 25 grain Winchester. So we'll try 5 of these. I'll torque it down to now, after that, 10 foot-pounds, and we'll go up to 35 and 5-pound increments. So we're going to be shooting a few groups, so this will definitely be a feature-length video. But we're going to start out 5 pounds on our action screws. And you will see I don't have the trigger guard installed. So on this particular gun itself, if you have the trigger guard installed, you don't have access to that rear action screw. So just kind of keep that in mind. And I will say the magazine is a little tight in this Boyd stock, so I'm probably going to end up having to take a little bit of a look at that later on. But for now, first shots, let's see what happens. And it is chilly out here today. I definitely forgot how bad the trigger is in this thing. The over travel is just monumental. This should be our last one for 5 inch-pounds. Okay, so looks like we did have one pulled shot. That definitely could have been me, but I am going to go ahead and that magazine is definitely tight in that stock, but we're going to go ahead and tighten these action screws. So I like to tighten the front one first. There's that one. And the back one here. Okay, that should be 10. So I'm going to let the action and the barrel cool for just a couple of minutes, because I did put some rounds through prior to this, just making sure that I had everything sighted in. Let that barrel cool so we can get kind of a baseline off of each torque weight on our action screws. Okay, back with 10 inch-pounds. Let's try these 5 and see how they do. All right. Okay. Okay. Typical anemic ejection. Should be our last one here. Okay. That should be our 5, and it is. So let's this magazine out, and we're going to adjust up to 15 inch-pounds. And I am using the Wheeler fat wrench, so 15 there. Do our front one first. Rear. All right. Well, I tell you guys, I don't know if we're going to make it to, I don't know if we'll make it to 35. That's, I definitely do not want to crack that stock, but we're going to give it a couple of minutes and get our next 5 rounds loaded up, and we'll see how they do. Okay, back with our next 5. Let's try it at 15. I pulled that one. That one was totally my fault. I felt that. Last one here on 15. Okay. I tell you, going through here, I mean, barring that one shot that I know I pulled, you can see it start to get a little bit tighter as we're going through. Now, I'm not adjusting the scope every time for point of impact. I'm only looking for precision, seeing if I can get those groups to shrink a little bit on each time. Now, I am going to go ahead and go up to 20. I'm going to kind of try and get a feel for those action screws. And again, like I said, I do not want to damage the stock because it is not pillar bedded or anything. It is just the laminate wood. So, all right, there's 20. So we'll let that barrel cool for a couple of minutes. Won't take that long, as cold as it is out here on a nice sunny southern Indiana day. But we'll let it cool and we'll get our next 5. Okay, so we got our next 5 loaded. Let's see what we can do at 20. Yeah, we dropped a couple there. That first one was definitely my fault. Now, I can tell you one thing about installing this action into this stock. We got lucky on this one. I did not have to relieve any of the wood in the barrel channel or anything like that. It was completely free floated up into the receiver. So that was definitely one good thing about this little project so far. But I think I am going to go ahead and do 25 and see if I can get all of my trigger presses to at least make it halfway look like I know what I'm doing here. But let's see. First one. Yeah, and this is going to be it. We're not going to take it any tighter than 25. Yeah. It is not going any further. We're not going to damage the stock. So let's go ahead and let the barrel cool for a couple of minutes, and then we'll take our final 5 shots. Okay, 25 inch-pounds on our front and rear action screws. And I will say, now that I have tightened this action up some, our magazine is definitely working a little bit better as well. So that's an added bonus. So let's try our next 5 here at 110. These are all being shot at 110 yards. Fingers crossed. Let's see if we can have 5 decent shots here. Third one. That should have been, oh crap. I hate breaking cheek weld. I thought that was our 5th one. All right. So it's our last one there. And like I said, I am not going to take those screws any tighter than what they are at 25. I just don't want to risk damaging the stock. But let me go down. I'm going to grab those targets. We'll lay them out here up on the bench and see what we got. Okay, so I had to move us back in the gun room. My hands were absolutely froze out there today. I know it looked nice, but man, that wind was chilly. But I got our 2 targets here represented of our different action torque specs. So we started out with 5 inch-pounds, and we've got 3 here in a nice little cluster, and then 2 down here. Now we moved to 10, 3 in a nice cluster, 2 over here. Now, let me stop and say, I witnessed this very shooting phenomenon in the other 2 representative models of this gun that I had. It would shoot 3 nice, really nice shots, as you can see here, and then 2 would just be wherever they ended up. And that was something that I was trying to alleviate whenever I did the previous video, betting that factory stock. So again, from 5 to 10 inch-pounds, you can see we haven't really changed much, so that kind of sucked. Then we went up to 15 inch-pounds. Things got a little bit better. Now, I think I called this one right here. This was definitely a flyer. That's me. I suck and cannot shoot. But we had 4 in a very nice little cluster right here. That was 15 inch-pounds. Now, this is all being shot with the 25 grain Winchester Varmint HE. And here was 20 inch-pounds. Again, ginormous flyer. That could have definitely been me. And then finally, I stopped on 25. As I was saying, the back action screw on these Bmags, there's really nothing there. It kind of goes into the abyss that is the void in the back of these, because there's nothing that really touches the bottom of the stock that I can see on this. It just kind of squishes in between the bottom of the receiver and that laminate, so it just keeps squishing and squishing and squishing. So I did not want to damage the stock, but I settled on 25, and you can see we've got 4 nice little shots here, and that definitely could have been me. I was having a really tough time getting acclimated to that trigger. It's been a minute, like I showed you guys, since I've shot one of these, and I forgot how bad the triggers suck in these things. But we don't have any ammunition in the gun. I just want to show you all. So the thing with these is that you have the brake, but then you've also got a massive amount of over travel. So if you're going through and you're trying to time your shot, I mean, yeah, you can find your brake, which is right here, but as you can see, you can still press the trigger down. Let's see if I can get that there. You can still press the trigger down past where it breaks. So let me try that again for you here. Get a better, cleaner view. So right here, breaks, but still goes further. So trying to time that and get that represented over 5 consecutive shots, that's kind of tough. I mean, I'm not the greatest shooter, believe me, but I usually do okay. So that's going to take a little bit of getting used to again. However, of course, it's got to be off camera, but I went ahead and shot a couple of more after the camera went off. And if you can see, I shot this right here. All these were at 110 yards, same ammo. And this was at the 25 inch-pound torque. And then here's another little 5-shot group here. So I think this thing will shoot. I really do. That's far better than the massive, 2-inch groups, 3-inch groups that some guys are seeing out of this. Now, granted, this is not bedded. This is just to the stock. If this thing got pillar bedded and with a little bit of epoxy, it could do better. But I'll be honest, if I can do this right here consistently, I think it's a total win just for what this round actually gives you. This is by far, as far as rimfire goes, you guys know I love rimfire here at the Hyde. This is one of the most fun calibers to shoot. You could shoot out to 210 yards, like here on my range, and I was dinking steel out there with that, and it was no problem at all with a rimfire. So it's just a fun, neat little round. Granted, ammunition is really the limiting factor because sometimes it's kind of tough to get. But if you can get one of these, kind of play around with it, I think you can get them to shoot. I really do. Even some of the groups that I shot previously in the Tupperware stock that I had bedded, I mean, it didn't do bad. But I will say the shootability of this rifle now with the @1 stock and just being able to interface with the rifle more comfortably, for me, it's worth that. Just being able to shoot the rifle more comfortably in how I like to position myself behind the trigger. So added precision and accuracy definitely adds to the overall concept of getting a better stock for it, of course. But with that said, if it's going to do this, I think it might be worth upgrading the stock and looking into maybe getting one of the Boyds. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. This is definitely Amateur Hour, the most unscientific YouTube channel on the web. So, take it for what it is. But if you got any comments, let me know how you think it did down below. Be interested to hear your all's thoughts. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out the campsite page. Got some good stuff going on over there. And as always, shoot straight. Later.